right, welcome back, Sunrisers. So when is the best time to get into a relationship? Ooh, is it when you're lonely or when you're secure? Let's discuss.
I don't know if you should settle down or pass up for someone better. That's a great question. I even want to hear this answer.
I think that a lot of people are in relationships because they can't afford a rent on their own. A lot of people are in relationships because they don't want to fall asleep by themselves at night. A lot of people are in relationships because their mom or dad tell them that they're getting too old. A lot of people are in relationships for the wrong reason. And the truth is, when you get to a space where you love you enough to get rid of the noise that comes from outside of you, the people, the places, the things, the biases, the societal norms, when you get outside of all of that, now you can powerfully choose. I'm choosing you because I want you, not because I need you, although I'm not going to act like I don't need you. I'm going to move like I genuinely want you in my life. And until you get to that point, I don't think you should be in a relationship.
I agree.
Interesting. You know what? I always say this. I think that the best time to get into a relationship is when you feel the best. Because then you attract the best. You kind of have the best options. You are in your best self. And so for whatever reason, the best match for you in that moment comes, which is the best for you. Whereas if you meet somebody when you are, you know, hurting, when you're depressed, when you are, then you guys connect, you know, and it could be a real connection, but you're kind of connecting on a negative. And it's almost like if you feel better, if you get out of depression, then you're no longer a good fit, because like that's what brought you together in the first place. It's like a trauma bond. Yeah, exactly. What do you think?
I am there with you. I'm there with you 100%. I actually think that the statement that was made in the video directly correlates to certain societies more than others. Now, hear me out. Let's say the person is living in New York City. I agree with her 100%, because a lot of people partner up because they can't pay them rent, and it sounds terrible. I mean, when she said it, Michaela literally went, But the truth is, a lot of people stay in relationships in certain settings because of the economic benefits, and that is cost of living for a lot of people. Where in other scenarios, you're less likely to do that because you're able to afford yourself a particular life without having to do that, right? So unfortunately, sometimes the economic setting does dictate and determine what people do and how they set up. So for example, let's say in the Jamaican space, we might meet someone and date and court for a longer period of time because we're in our own dwellings, or we're still with our parents or family members or roommate or so on, where in other scenarios people might move in more quickly because it's more cost effective to do so. Whereas when you start sleep over people's house, you understand?
Definitely.
But I 100% believe that you have to be in a place of centeredness before you can enter any dynamic. 100%. I think even giving yourself a chance to heal coming out of a relationship, doing a bit of therapy, having certain conversations, understanding even your own missteps in the relationship would help you before you go into another. And I always say, you see your nervous system, trust it. You see, when you come around certain people, you feel an ease or an angst. Pay attention to that. The ease that you feel is guiding you for a reason. You see the angst that you feel in some scenarios, don't ignore it. Well, your nervous system is telling you everything you need to know.
That's us talking about, and you know, based on the video, that's us talking about getting into a relationship. You know what I often ask, and I don't have the answer to?
Yeah.
When do you leave a relationship? Because there's the thought that, okay, this doesn't feel good anymore, or like I said before, maybe we got together at a time when I was lonely or I was depressed, and no, I'm not. I actually feel better. Now that I feel better, I look around and I'm like, you are not for me, actually. Or is it a situation where we're having a hard time, but that doesn't mean that we're not a good match and we shouldn't fight through? At what point do you say, okay, enough is enough? Or do you say, relationships go up and down, I'm going to fight this through and stick it out? How do you answer that question?
I genuinely think your nervous system knows. So for example, let's say...
Yeah, my nervous system will tell me cut enough time or stay or him cute, you know, something like it. Like my nervous system, I need to connect with it some more, maybe.
Here's the thing. If we're clashing over whether we should use red peas or gungo peas, that is minuscule, right? And that might be difference in opinion. And obviously, depending on what is happening in your life, how you respond to those scenarios differ. So if you're in a high-stress circumstance in the current moment, you might be a little bit more irritable or less patient or less kind in how you approach something. But we're not talking about that. We're talking about knowing that you are unhappy. We're talking about knowing that you cannot see a future. We're talking about when you picture, perfect example, perfect way to answer that question. When you experience a very high high, is that person still the first person you want to call? When you experience a very low low, is that person still your source of comfort? Like if you no longer have that in that person, then you might have to ask yourself, am I in this thing because it's become familiar and comfortable and it's just what I know, or is this thing still serving me?
I used to think that until I watched again on social media, big up yourself, social media. But I saw, I think it was Michelle Obama who was talking to Oprah, who said that she had about a 7-year period where she didn't like Obama.
I saw that.
7 years! And I'm like, would I stick it out for 7 years being unhappy and say, no, this is a marriage, this is what I committed to, and hoping that it gets better or work towards it getting better? Or would I have been the one that said, this doesn't feel good, this is not the person that I want to call at the first time something happens.
Yeah.
I'm out of here. But then say they worked it out and they're the beautiful couple that they are today and have how many years of marriage. So, boy, I mean, I don't know, wanna tell me.
You know, I think when couples get tested the most is in those formative years of the lives of the children.
Yeah, when they have kids, man. Picking them just smash up everything.
And obviously, I'm going to...
I'm joking.
Obviously,
we
I'm
love you,
speaking
children.
from the... We do. Just kidding. Of course we do. But speaking of the lens from the woman, it often feels like an imbalance of responsibility. Like it's never... The responsibility is never equally shared, is how it feels. And the truth is, in certain years, it won't be. Because what is required of us, even physically, is way more and is biologically just what is happening. Like you can't do anything. My husband can't breastfeed the baby. That's on me. So there's a greater physical demand that takes a physical toll. And so I understand what she's saying, where there are seasons when you look at your husband and you don't even like him, but you don't dislike him. There's no love lost, and ultimately the best way to come through that is when he sees and hears you. So if you can look at him and say, I'm not okay, I'm really overwhelmed, I need a mental health day, and he can say, let's do it, I have the baby, then you know you feel supported. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So there's a lot of give and take.
Yeah.
But you see the relationships up here?
Man.
Hey. I'm not and we're not just talking romantic relationships.
Yeah.
It happens as well in mother-daughter dynamics, mother-son dynamics, father-daughter, friend dynamics.
Definitely.
Relationships are very interesting. And we can't function without them.
I always said to myself, one of the telltale signs that a relationship doesn't work for me anymore is if the person is no longer my friend. Because if I'm in a relationship, for me, and I know a lot of people are not on the same page with me on this, like my partner has to be like my best friend. I have to be able to tell him everything, do everything with him. We might not have to do everything, but I can if I want to. And he can know that he can call on me if he wants to. But if there's a situation now where I'm like, this person, I wouldn't even have them as a friend. Based on where we are in our lives, that means that we can't be in a relationship.
So it wouldn't be your phone call when you're happy, and it wouldn't be your phone call when you're sad.
But whereas I've spoken to guys who's like, yo, I don't want my woman to be my friend, like my woman is my woman, and then my friends are my friends. But I don't necessarily look at it that way.
No,
but I get it. I understand. That take.
There's a dynamic for everyone, but I am with you on that. I'm on the same page with you. My husband is my friend.
Yeah, my husband, my
and I enjoy his company, and we par, and we talk sports, and we banter, and we have lunch just because we're having lunch, and over lunch we're just like, yo, did you see when da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da? Because we have a friendship outside of an intimate relationship.
Let me ask you a quick question, because I know we're wrapping up. What is your thought on, since it's your friend, what is your thought on the couples who can, like, both of you look at a woman and admire her? And so, like, for example, you say, yo, babe, look on that girl, she look goodie. Or he can say, yo, Yendi.
Oh, that is me right through. Let me tell you something right now. I am the person who will be like, you see her 6:15? Got the girl shape good. I'm like, no. I said, look how she... They could have just sit down upon her.
Yeah.
And I said, don't look now, don't look now.
Yeah.
I said, all right, you see if you can look. I said, go on, look.
There's some people who are
And
adamantly
then come back and him
against
say,
that. There's some
she
people
look
who
good.
are so against that. They're like, that's disrespectful. If he's looking at another woman in my presence, that means he doesn't
No,
respect
we're
me.
human.
You know what I
No,
mean?
we are
I don't
human.
have that problem.
Being in a committed dynamic does not mean you are no longer human. You can look, you can admire, and you can still respect your relationship. Me watch TV and me say, my God, what a good-looking person. Jesus. Me, every time we watch football, I say, boy, Arteta does look like him smell good. Watch Daniel. He just look like him smell good. It don't mean nothing, but
Yeah.
it's the truth, and I
Yeah.
can be free to be honest and share my thoughts, and my husband knows it's from a place of complete respect.
I don't know. Sometimes my partner will say, like, let's say somebody's, derriere looks good, and I'm
Yeah.
like, oh, it does, and then I think to myself, I don't have that derriere. Oh, and he can't admire mine because mine isn't like that. And then sometimes you get into your head. So I get it. I get it.
He chose where he wants to be.
Hey, which
Come
is
on.
right.
That's okay. He said, I don't need all that. I got all this.
Ooh.
Okay.
Yans.
Teeks.
Yans.
Come on. All right, that's it for Mic Check. Coming up next, we look into a force for change. Stay with us. It's still Sunrise.
Ooh.